How's it going, everybody? Welcome to the Positive Mindset Podcast, where we come together to raise our vibration, lift our perspective, and build that positive mindset. My name is Henry, and I'm so thankful to have each and every one of you here today because in this episode, we're going to talk about the one thing that you need to hear to make this shift. If you've been waiting, if you've been trying, if you've been working towards becoming that higher version of self, in this episode, we're going to break down that barrier so that you can move forward in love, light, and positive energy. But before we get started, we're going to take a few moments to slow down, zero in. We're going to take some deep, healing, meditative breaths to help us align on the frequency that we want in our lives. So you can pick a word. It can be love, joy, happiness, abundance, whatever frequency you want. And we're going to take a deep breath in. And as you're breathing in, you're going to say this word over and over and over again. Really charge yourself up with that energy. And then as you're holding your breath, visualize yourself doing something in that frequency. And once you exhale, anything that no longer resonates with you will leave you and you'll be in a more positive state. So let's go ahead and take a deep breath in. And out. We're going to take another deep breath. This one's about alignment, about getting ourselves in receiving mode so that we can receive the message that we need to hear to get us in that positive state. So just imagine that you are surrounded by the most healing, uplifting energy that's meant specifically for you. It could have a certain color, a certain taste, a certain smell, however you imagine it. And when you breathe it in, it's going to charge you up. It's going to break down the negativity, the blocks, the weight, everything that's just been holding you back. And once you exhale, anything that no longer resonates with you will leave you and you'll be in a more positive state. So let's go ahead and take another deep breath in. And out. Well, before we get started, if you're listening on YouTube or Spotify, you can actually leave a comment below. Not only does that help me know what resonated with you in the episode, but somebody might read your comment and that might inspire them to give this podcast a chance. My goal is to make this the #1 mindset podcast in the world, and the best way to do that would be together. So whether you're leaving a comment or sharing it with someone that you think it might have a positive impact on, it means the absolute world to me, and I'm so thankful for you and us to grow together. So let's dive into today's episode. So before we go too far, I'm dealing with a little bit of congestion. It's that time of year where the weather starts changing and you get the little bit of headaches, you get the stuffy nose. It happens to me every single year. And I start with that because when things are difficult, when it's not comfortable to do something, that's when expansion happens. And that's not the topic of this episode, but I wanted to say that. Whenever you're having a hard day, whether you're dealing with something as simple as, allergies or something extreme, when it's hard to do it and you do it anyway, that's when you become more of what it is that you're trying to achieve. But for this episode, this is the thing I want to focus on. So you have an idea of what you want to become. Maybe it's healthier, maybe you want to get in better shape. Maybe you want to step into your money energy and you want to expand your wealth. Maybe it's relationships, maybe it's experiences, whatever it is. It might just be going for inner peace, dealing with the demons or the negativity or that, depression, anxiety that's within you. Whatever it is, you're going to come to terms with this, and this will help you shift into the next level. You are moving, you are growing, you are expanding, you're learning, you're researching, you're doing all these things. But there's one point that you get to decide when it is when you make the shift. And it's when you say your I am statement and then stick to it unconditionally. There comes a choice, and there's things where I've made this choice and there's things that I haven't made it on yet because life is complex. You don't just choose, say, okay, I'm completely awesome and amazing and positive from here, and then you just stay that. Overall you can try, but there's individual things that you have to continually make the choice on to be in alignment with your higher self. So this is why we create the future version of you. When you have this target that at least you're building for now that you want to become, even though it will change as you elevate and grow and shift and all that stuff, when you have a target, you know what that person would think like. You know how that person would handle certain situations. So eventually you have to decide when you'll make the choice to be. I was getting ready this morning and I was looking in the mirror, and there's some things I can tone up. Like, there's this shape that I have in my mind that I am, this like physical shape, and I'm not it right now. And this is where it came to mind. Like, Henry, eventually you just choose to be it. You choose to be it no matter whether you're going out to celebrate with a dinner with friends. You choose to be it whether you slept in and you don't have time to make the proper food for the day. You choose to be it when somebody offers you a snack, a cookie, all those things. You choose to be it. The same is with your mindset. When you decide, Henry, I'm going to be a positive thinker. Universe, I'm going to be a positive thinker. God, I am going to align with the positive in my thoughts at all times going forward. That means you do it even around the people that speak negatively to you. You do it when you get around the gossipy people. You do it around the people that try to bring you down. You do it when your own thoughts try to bring you down. And you don't go back. Once you become something, you are something. And I think I've used this analogy before, but I'm going to bring it back. And this is something that I used to struggle with. And I say used to because it's something that I'm working to overcome, and words are important. When I would clean out my kids' lunches, they'd have some snacks that they didn't finish or food that was left over. I track my food. That works for me. I have to track what I eat to eat within a certain guideline so I get the amount of protein I need and calories and all that stuff. Well, when I see their food that's half eaten, in my mind, I'm like, well, I might as well eat it because I don't want to just throw it away. And so I end up doing that sometimes, or in the past I'd end up doing that. And so I'm taking in extra calories that I'm not planning for, that are not on my meal plan, and I don't need. It's usually late at night when I'm cleaning that all out. Why would I do that? If I am someone that's healthy in alignment with the version of my body that I want to have, why do I make an exception for those things? Or why in the past have I made an exception? Why do you do that? Why do you say you're going to be a positive thinker, but then you got this one friend that you get around and they start gossiping, they start talking about the negative, whether it's at work or this or that. Even if those things are true, why do you make an exception to partake in them? You can't. There can be no exceptions with your higher self. You either are your higher self or you're not. You're either operating in your highest frequency or you're not. And you get to choose every time. It doesn't mean that you're operating in the highest form of yourself or the most positive version of yourself. You're working on it. The choice is, are you choosing to be aligned with your higher self as best as you can, presented with the situation? When you start eating healthy, like just in the beginning, your knowledge of nutrition is probably not as advanced as it will be once you do it for 3, 4, 5, 6 years. So you do the best that you can at that time. But going back to the lunch example where I'm throwing away the food or eating it, you either are or you're not. I'm either eating a specific plan to become something or I'm not. There can't be exceptions. And I know people talk about cheat days and things like that, but you have to think about the bigger picture of what this is. If you have cheat days on a positive mindset, what do you think will happen? If you have cheat days on a program that uplifts you, what do you think will happen? So here's where the analogy switches gears and makes more sense. If I was hanging out with somebody and we're outside or whatever and they started smoking a cigarette, I don't smoke. I don't. You either do or you don't, or maybe some people do a little bit. You either do or you don't. That's something I don't do. If they were to take a couple hits of that cigarette and then they were going to throw it away, I wouldn't think, hey, let me finish that for you because I don't want to be wasteful. So why would I think about the food that I'm not aligned with? It's because I make a conditional negotiation with myself, kind of putting myself back into the energy of someone that does eat the extra food, or someone that does think the negative thoughts, or someone that does do whatever it is that you're struggling with. Eventually, you have to decide you either are this or not this. You're not this just during the week, and then you switch off during the weekend. You're not just during the weekend, and then you switch off during the week. You're not just around certain people this way, and then around others. You shift. You either are or you aren't. And so if you eventually just make that choice, okay, from now on, I either am or I'm not, it makes life simple. You are either choosing to be in the frequency that you desire as best to your ability, as best to your mind will allow you, your soul at the time. If you continually choose that over and over and over again, what do you think your belief about yourself will become? You are those things. When you do it when it's difficult, when you do it around people that used to confuse you and make you think that, well, I'll do it this way or I'll do it that way, getting you out of alignment, then you will become what it is that you desire to be. It is truly that simple as making a choice. It's not easy making that choice. It can be difficult to choose to be in a frequency that you haven't been in a long time. It's hard to choose a frequency that other people think is weird or think, why do you do this? Oh, it's just one drink. Oh, it's just one cheat meal. Oh, it's just one conversation. You are trying to become something different. You cannot create a recipe of food, a specific recipe that makes something specifically, and then throw just an extra ingredient that's completely out of alignment and say, well, it's just one ingredient. It's just one at a time. It takes something to become something, and you either do it, you either think it, you either receive it, or you don't. So if you want to level up, if you want to step into your energy, just commit to it unconditionally. Decide when's the time to do that. Because eventually, you're the one that has to make the choice. There's not going to be a sign from God. There's not going to be a sign from me. There's not going to be a sign from the world. The sign's already there. This episode is already it. You already know. The sign was when you realized that you wanted to become something different. How much more convincing do you need? None. So make the choice. Commit to yourself and become the rising tide that lifts all ships. Well, thank you so much for listening. I hope this episode came out okay. Sometimes it's hard to do these when you're a little bit stuffy and clogged up in the throat, but that's what allergies do, and it's okay. We push through anyway. If you want to make sure you don't miss a single episode, make sure you subscribe to my email list. There's a link down below. It will keep you up to date with every single episode. And if you want to follow me on social media, there's my Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook group all down below, so I appreciate all the follows there. And if you listen to this episode and you want to make a shift, you want to learn how to make that commitment, it is a process. You do have the ups and downs through it. You do have a learning curve on how to choose yourself, your higher self, each and every time. This is what I do as a mindset coach. I help people stay in alignment with what it is that they desire to become. If you want more information on this, you can either reach out to me via Instagram or there's a link down below. If you fill that out, I will get back to you as soon as I have more openings. I am currently full, at least at the release of this episode. I may have some more openings now, so it is good to reach out anyway. At least we could touch base and talk and maybe just have some conversation around whatever it is that you're going through just to do. Well, thank you so much for listening. Have a great day, and I can't wait to talk to you next time.